Yeah, all right, so the first thing you're gonna wanna do is take the front plate off. This is gonna hold the LCD and the digitizer in the front, which we'll get to in a bit. But as you can see, I separated the front from the back. You're gonna wanna take out all the screws. I can show you what it looks like when it's put together. Just give me a second. So this is essentially what it looks like when it's together. You know, they'll slide into those slots. Same thing on the other side. You just gotta make sure you take out all the screws. There's 2 screws on top, small ones. You gotta make sure you take off the mounting brackets for the stereo because there are some screws hidden underneath. Once you take out all the screws, you just gotta make sure you maybe get a flathead, and then there's these little clips that go on here. Just get they look like that when they're in there. Just get a screwdriver, lift it up from, you know, this side, pull it up, it'll pop out. Same thing around the black, the face. Like there's a little lip here. Just make sure you get a screwdriver, lift it up. You'll be able to pull it out pretty easy once you get all the screws out. After that, just make sure you disconnect the connectors. They go into those little slots there. They're not really hard to remove. Don't be afraid. Just give them a little bit of a tug, little by little, from side to side, and they'll pop right out. All right. Now, once you get here, there's going to be some more screws to remove, as you can see. There's a black one there. Might have to take that one out too as well. We'll see when I get there. Most likely will. But yeah, we'll see what happens next. All right, to get to the next step, depending on what you're doing here, you're just gonna want to take off the screws. There's one screw here, this whole silver one. You got a black one here. You got another black one here, and that one's kind of hidden. It's kind of tucked out to the side like that. So, all right, and I think there was one more, I want to say, but maybe not. Maybe there was 2 here. I don't know. But after that, just go around the edges again. You're gonna have to go, you know, the nudges right there that are holding it in place, just lift them up with the screwdriver through here, just lift up. Just do the same to the side if it's caught on there, bottom, and then you should be able to just pull it out, just like that. All right, so let's see this next. And once you get here, you're gonna have to remove this one. Remove this one. And that one up there, I don't think you have to remove the ones on the actual board, the ones holding the board, but we'll see. So for now, we're gonna take that one off, and that one off since we already removed this one, and then this connector as well. This connector is what goes to the digitizer in the front. So probably pull that off too, and we'll see what happens next. All right, so I took off those screws I talked about. There's one hidden down here. Make sure you get that one. And like I said, you don't have to take the ones touching the green off. And after that, you just want to go to the front and then push up on the actual digitizer itself because it's glued onto the inside. You push up, it'll start to lift like that. And make sure you take that connector off. And then this one I took off too, just in case. But I used some tweezers for this one. And then let's see what happens next. All right, so that's what you're left with once you get it off. This is the front. As you can see, my digitizer's so ugly. And a lot of these cars have the issue where the digitizer stops working. Again, that's the connector for it. It's the back. So we're gonna want to take this part off, just the part on the front. Might need a heat gun, I'm not sure. Otherwise, I'll just try to pull it off. We'll see. All right, so I actually just decided to separate the whole panel from there, and it just required removing this connector, and then there's a small one that goes through this hole. You'll see it. It connects to that little black one right there. From the bottom, just unplug that one. You can use tweezers or some small, you know, any tool that you have really. And then this is what you got. This is the digitizer with the panel, the LCD panel in one. Make sure you wear gloves. I was working on taking off the digitizer. Forgot to wear gloves. I got a bunch of pieces of glass in my hands now. Couldn't find my heat gun, so either you're gonna use a heat gun and be really patient with it, and you'll be able to take it off. I probably might have to use a razor blade to remove any residue from the LCD. Make sure the LCD is good if you're gonna just replace the digitizer. Otherwise, this is the model number that you have for this. So I do have a brand new LCD and a brand new digitizer. I was thinking about using them, but I'm actually just gonna use the same LCD if it works like it should, and just put a new digitizer on. The way I took it off was I got a flathead screwdriver and just went around the edges super slowly. This is the digitizer. Gonna see the glue is underneath those edges. This is holding it on. Just take it all off. Make sure your panel is all good and not damaged, because if it's damaged, you'll have to replace that. But if it's just a digitizer, it's just this front piece that needs to be replaced. That is what it looks like when the digitizer's off. As you can see, panel's in good shape. No need to replace it, unless it's just broken on the inside, but shouldn't be. That's the old digitizer. These are like the glue that keeps it in place. These on the side. Just take it off. I did it with my hands. Didn't need to use a razor blade. I'm gonna get the new digitizer, put it on, start reconnecting everything, and then test it in the car. That's the screen. New digitizer. That's face down right now. So what I mean is that when I put the screen back on, this being the front of the screen, okay, this is what it looks like on the back. It's gonna go face down on it. All right, and you can tell which way it goes on the screen because it has the strips of adhesive that's gonna be glued onto the screen. So you can't mess that up. Just remember that that's gonna be on the left side. This goes face down on it. So I'm gonna stick that on there. All right, make sure you peel the plastic back when you're putting it on and take off these brown strips. Otherwise it won't stick. And then it's gonna go just like that from the front. Right on there. All right, so that's what it looks like once you push it on. I'll make sure the edges are nice and firm on there. It's gonna go right back in there, so that'll put pressure on it as well. You'll wanna clean this from the old. I think alcohol wipe should be fine. Just wipe it. Make sure it's clean. Don't get that, don't touch that with anything. You just don't wanna have any issues. But yeah, clean that up and I'll push it back in. And so I went ahead and wiped it down. A little bit of alcohol wipe I had. I could have done better, but got a good amount of stuff out. So now I'm gonna put it back. And that is what it looks like back in place. Now I just gotta wire everything back up. And then, so that's the new screen here. Could have gone a little bit lower on that, but that's all right. Once it's in, wire it up and see if it works. Oh boy, once you get here, you gotta reconnect this connector right there. Leave this one hanging over here to the left. Leave these hanging for now. This one gets pushed in to a certain point. And then you see this little black thing on top? All right, it's kind of raised up. What you're gonna wanna do is push that down, okay? So it's gonna look like this. Make sure this is all the way in. And just push it out. Just like that. It'll hold in place. The same thing goes for when you're pushing in these. This little black space might lift up, just push it back down. Same thing here. This little black space here might lift up, just make sure it's flat. Don't let it raise up. All right. I don't know how I forgot to do the main plug, but that's just how it goes, I guess. So before you put that top part back on, make sure this gets put where it belongs, which is here. And it's a little bit confusing. I might have broke mine. I'm hoping I didn't, but you got to pull these out. This black part comes out towards you, and that allows you to push this part in, okay, through the bottom. Once it's in, you push this back inwards, and it'll lock in place. Okay, and then once you get here, slip this in through this hole, get this one into this hole, this one into this hole, and it's just time to put in these screws again. So a lot of the blacks are the same, like everywhere, they're like the same length, so don't be afraid of mixing up the black ones. But just remember this here, which it fell down right there, so be careful, my screw fell in there, is a silver one. So I need to get that back out. It goes right there. All right, once you get here, once you got this put back together, Gotta get these two connectors back in. So the same idea, just push them in. Those black things that are lifted up, this still work. Those black parts that are lifted up, they should be flat once they're in, all right? Same thing with that bottom one down there. The black part that's lifted up, make sure it's flat once you push the connector in. Once it's back in, all the clips, put the screws back on. All right, so that's it, put it back together. Pay attention to the black screws. I had to take it all apart again, realized I forgot a black screw. If you push in a little bit, you're gonna see it goes in. That's just how this is. Like, don't think you forgot something if that happens. Like, even if you're missing, if you got all the screws back to where they belong, it's still gonna happen. It doesn't stay like super tight against the this part, so it'll get pushed in. But that's it. That's how you change the digitizer. Same process if you want to change the actual screen, the LCD screen.